Good evening, viewers, and welcome again to Discovering Truth. And I am Pastor Forbes from Abiding Word Ministries. Tonight, I want us to look at just a one-part discussion on something that can look like a paradox in life, something that most people have experienced and maybe have some amount of regret in their lives. And because God gives us second, third, fourth, fifth chances in life, not because he just wants to give them, but because he wants to reach out to us all in his goodness, his mercy, his grace, then even if what we discuss makes you say, if I had known, or I wish I have a second chance, because of the goodness of God, we can have a second chance and become the better off for it in life. I'm going to read a parable that Jesus Christ spoke about in the third gospel of the New Testament of the Bible. That's Luke. There's Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So I'm going to read from Luke's gospel and chapter 19. It's a parable concerning something called MINAS or MINAS. It's money. Okay. And so it says, now as the disciples heard the things Jesus Christ said, he spoke another parable to them, because he was near Jerusalem, and also because they thought the kingdom of God would appear immediately. The kingdom of God is the rule of God, the reign of God in our lives, and it shows forth, or it can be identified in righteousness, in peace, in joy, all that comes through the goodness of God and his Spirit. It is also seen in the demonstration of God's goodness in miracles, in healings. It is seen in exorcism, in casting out of evil spirits. So wherever you find the casting out of evil spirits, true righteousness, joy, peace in God's presence and in his Spirit, and where you have the demonstration of God's almightiness in miraculous workings, things that tend to suspend the normal course of human nature and just give us a wow experience, then we know that the kingdom of God is in manifestation there. And so the disciples thought that the kingdom of God was going to appear as a physical thing. So Jesus Christ told them a parable to explain this. It says he told them a parable. This is Luke chapter 19, and I'm in verse 12 now. And he said to them, a certain nobleman or a prince went into a far country to receive for himself a kingdom and to return. So he was a prince. He had been promised, or he had qualified, or it had been bequeathed to him that a kingdom is going to be given to him. So he had gone on a far journey to a far country to receive this kingdom, this authority, power, oversight, leadership, rule, and was going to come back to his own country. Obviously, a new person. So he called 10 of his servants, and he delivered to them 10 minas or minas, M-I-N-A-S. And in Greek, 1 mina is 3 months' salary. So if you earn $5,000 a month, then he gave them each $15,000 a year. I'm sure there are people who earn $10,000. So he gave them $30,000, almost $1,000. And he said to them, do business with this minas until I come. In some older translations of the Bible, he says, occupy, take charge, do something, arise and be doing, be engaged in something with this that I've given you until I come, which means he is coming. And when he comes, he expects some amount of reckoning. It says, but his citizens hated him, and they sent a delegation after him saying, we will not have this man to reign over us. What that means is that they knew that as he left their shores, he left a nobleman, but he was going to come back a king. He left a student, but he was going to come back as the managing director. And for some reason or the other, best known to these citizens, they waited until he had left, and then they ganged up and put together a delegation and sent the delegation after him and said, don't come back, we don't want you, you are not going to rule over us. There are lots of lessons we can learn from this. One of them is it's amazing how people can show you loyalty when you are with them. When they are before you or you are in their presence, they can tell you how loyal they are, only for you to turn your back. Then their real colors begin to show, because they didn't make any representation while he was there. It was when he had gone away, and then they felt they could do that. But in verse 15, it says, so it was that when he returned, having received the kingdom. So he received the kingdom and he came. What that means is that the delegation probably gave the message, but he was not perturbed, he was not disturbed. It didn't matter to him. Maybe in the African setting, they must have done some juju, done some safara, done some fetish, rubbed something on his door handle, put something under his carpet or her carpet for that matter. And as far as they were concerned, sing all night, play their music all night, chant, cut themselves, bury something under the ground, do something. As far as they're concerned, he was not going to come back, because they cannot have him rule over them. It says, and so it was when he returned, having received the kingdom, he then commanded these 10 servants, to whom he had given the money, to be called to him, that he might know how much every man had gained by trading. So in this prince that became a king, this nobleman that became a king, in his mind, if he gave you a mina, 3 months' salary worth of money, then at his coming back, he expected profit. He expected progress. He expected advancement. He expected movement in whatever sphere, vocation, field you were called. He expected something. So we need to keep that at the back of our mind, because everything Jesus Christ taught obviously relates to eternity, to God, and to us, because we are a people of faith. We believe in God. We do not believe that we fell from the skies or we evolved from monkeys. We were created in the image and the likeness of God. So in this parable, it means that that mina could be a gifting, it could be a skill, it could be education, it could be a football, it could be a microphone, it could be a computer, it could be a laptop, it could be ice water, it could be selling soft drinks at a retail. He gave them something, so nobody could say, I wasn't given anything. And so he called them and he said, I want to know how much you have gained, not lost, how much you have gained by trading. Let me also add that if he gave them these minas, not only was he expecting them to gain, but he was assured in himself that they had the ability, the wherewithal, the education, the training, the knack, the acumen to be able to change this 1 mina, which is 3 months' salary, into something better. And at the very least, to give him back the principal and live their lives on the profit. There is a woman in the Bible whose husband died, unfortunately, and left a lot of debt, and left her with 2 boys. And creditors came to her and wanted to take, they must have taken everything, and obviously the debts were not paid, so they decided to take the 2 boys and make them slaves. So she cried to a prophet of God, and the prophet of God asked her, what do you have in your house? What can you do? She said, I have a little pot of oil. And he gave her the answer. He said, what you have, start with it. Go and borrow vessels, plenty vessels. Do not borrow a few. Borrow as many as you can. When you come into your house, shut your door and start pouring the oil into these vessels. Don't ask any question, just do it. And she did it, and there was a miraculous divine provision. Jar after jar was filled with oil, and the instructions of the prophet were, when they are full, set them aside. Not when they are half full. Set them aside when they are full. And then his other instruction was that, now that you have got this, go sell the oil, pay your debts, remove the principal, remove what is the first part that you owe, and then live on the rest. So when Jesus Christ gave this parable, not only did he expect them, not only does he expect you and I to gain in trading, but he knows that the ability is there. differently from birth, from your environment, from experiences, from successes, from failures, from betrayal, from everything. We learn lessons every day. And so the day of reckoning came. Verse 16 says, then came the first, and he said, Master, your mina has earned 10 minas. Okay? So according to the Bible, 1 mina is 3 months' salary. So this person did business and made 30 months worth of salary. And his master said to him, well done, you're a good servant. Because you were faithful in a very little, I am giving you authority over 10 cities. The second came and said, Master, your mina likewise has earned me 5 more minas. Likewise, the master said to him, you also will be over 5 cities. Then another came and said, Master, here is your mina. I kept it and I put it away in a handkerchief because I feared you. I knew that you were an austere man. You love profits. You collect what you did not deposit, and you reap what you did not sow. And the master said to him, out of your own mouth I will judge you, you wicked servant. You knew that I was an austere man, collecting what I did not deposit, reaping what I did not sow. Why then did you not put my money in the bank? It's my money, so that at my coming I might get my money with interest. And he said to those who stood by, take the mina from him. And this could be from her also. Take the mina from that person and give it to the one who has 10. But the people reacted and said, Master, he already has 10. And Jesus Christ said, for I say to you, to everyone who has, more will be given. The import of this verse is not just everyone who has, but everyone who utilizes to the best ability what they have. More will be given. And from him who does not have, even that which he has, he just kept it in a handkerchief, doesn't use it, has all kinds of reasons and complains why it will never work when it already worked for other people. Same mina, same conditions, same time, given by the same person, nothing different. And so the principle here is that to everyone who hears and uses what they have, more will be given. But from him who does not have, even the little that he has will be taken away from him. That's a little lesson I want to leave with us this evening. It's a lesson that captivates my heart, because when we live on this side of eternity, we are human beings. We are finite. We sleep, we wake. We are not omnipotent. We are not omniscient. We are not ever present. We are not God. So I can't be here and be in Japan at the same time. I can't be here and know what's happening in Bahamas. If that happens, then, then I need help. So because we are circumscribed by time and space, sometimes we want to live our lives just by what we feel is life. The angle, the lens, the perspective, the paradigm to which we view things, we feel that that is all there is. And when we do that, we build prejudices in our lives. When we do that, we make assumptions, presumptions, and we shortchange our own prosperity, we shortchange our own progress and our own advancement. Sometimes the very thing we are complaining about is the very solution to the problem we think we have. You say, Pastor Forbes, you're confusing me. Well, let me put it this way. In this parable, the man called 10 servants, but 3 are being picked out here. The first one was given a mina, which is 3 months' salary. So let's make it easy. You earn $10,000 a month, so he was given 30,000. The next person was called, whether he was tall, short, black, white, Gambian, no Gambian, female, male, married, unmarried, single parent, not single parent. The same thing was given. So there was no discrimination. All 10 of them were given the same thing. All 10 of them were given the same instructions. Go and do business until I come. Don't assume I'm not coming. Don't think that you have time. Just do business. The same conditions are going to be the same conditions for everybody. If things are tough for person A, they're going to be tough for person 7. If the exchange rate has jumped up or has jumped down, it's going to be the same. If it's hot, it's hot. If there's no power, there's no. It's the same condition. What is interesting is that this king gives one mina, or a gift, or an ability, or an opportunity, or an open door, or a line of credit. It just opened a window of opportunity for these people, and went. He wasn't there breathing over them. He wasn't doing Big Brother is watching you. He went to a far country for a long time. And interestingly enough, when he comes back, he asks, and this is the shocking answer: you were giving a mina $15,000, $10,000, whatever it is, whatever you call 3 months' salary anywhere in the world cannot be equated to the blessing of 10 cities. You cannot put money and 10 cities. If he had given them 1 city, you say, well, maybe the money they made was enough to buy 1 city. Ladies and gentlemen, a city is a city. Okay, let's put it practically. So it's you, it's me, who were given $15,000 to trade with. But you were so judicious, you were so diligent, you did it so right. Because God in heaven always watches us, whether we are doing things right or whether we are doing things to curry human favor, whether we are doing things for people to see us, or whether we are just doing it from the integrity of our heart without ill will or affection, fear or favor, whether people see us or not, whether we are celebrated, whether we are called to the national front or not, whether on the newspapers, the television, whether we are honored with medals or not. We just do it because beyond man, the medals, TV, everything, there is a God who sees, and who, when he rewards, everybody knows that he rewards you. And so 10 minas more. And the master looks at him and says, when I was giving you these minas, I had cities in mind. I had something far bigger in volume, in magnitude, than what I gave you. Yet that thing was buried inside what I gave you. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, there's a very tiny verse in the Bible, in the second to last book of the Old Testament, the book of Zechariah. I think it's in chapter 4 and maybe verse 10. It talks about not despising the days of small beginnings, or not despising small things. So somebody comes and he gives you a mina, 3 months salary. What is this? By the time they remove VAT, by the time they do this, but inside that thing, God knew that if you are faithful, consistent, and if you just are diligent, what he has in mind for you is cities. You can't buy cities with 10 minas. It's almost like Joseph in the Bible. If you are familiar with his story, God had given this man, young boy, a vision of his greatness. He didn't understand it, so he made a few mistakes and he got into trouble. And the pathway was less than the best. It's a pathway that will make you open your mouth and insult God, curse the day of your birth, lose faith in God and just become a hater. But Joseph found out that his kingship, his rulership over Egypt was locked inside his going to the prison. Wow. Takes me to another young boy called David, Dauda in the Bible. Was sent by his father to take care of sheep. All day long, sheep. His other brothers went into the army. And sometimes we can say, well, this one has a better job. This one is more promising. This is the child that I know will take care of me in my old age. We make all these assumptions, presumptions, and we have our prejudices. And we take our eyes off the very thing that will bring us greatness. And so David, in taking care of sheep, learned certain principles, learned a lifestyle, a certain amount of braveness in his heart that was the catalyst for his killing Goliath and becoming a king. Yet when he was killing the lion and the bear, as he testified in the Bible, when he was shooing away animals from his sheep, he must have felt, what an idle job. I don't have anybody to talk to. I catapult a few birds here and there. I'm with sheep every day. They are grazing. They go in all kinds of direction. They smell. It's enough for you to despise it. It's enough for you to look down on it. It's enough for you to throw it aside. But inside that mina is 10 cities, 5 cities. So if you are a David this evening, maybe I should tell you that those sheep are not ordinary sheep. They are not normal sheep. Maybe they are the pathway to the throne, to leadership, to management, to becoming a boss. Maybe you are in a Joseph scenario where you didn't do anything, but you find yourself in places where your liberty has been curtailed. People have to tell you what to do. And you want to make sure that when you come out, you're going to write so many things, you're going to placard, and you're going to bring your point down. The great thing about God is that there is nothing he doesn't see. There is nothing he doesn't know. There is nothing you can tell him. There is nothing that surprises him. There is nothing that makes God panic. As a matter of fact, the truth about it is that even before we think of what we are going to do, God knows it all together because he is God. Nothing takes him by surprise. And so if you are a David taking care of sheep, just keep on doing what you're doing because maybe there is a throne waiting for you. If you are a Joseph, finding yourself in a place where everything has gone wrong against you and you wonder how are you going to come out of this situation, maybe the next time you come out, you are in a place to be celebrated. Maybe you have been given MINAS. They look very small, very tiny. You have the option like that person to say, well, I'm going to hide it in a handkerchief. This is nothing. But God is saying that I did not give you MINAS. I gave you 10 cities. If you walk on these MINAS, what I have in my mind to reward you with is not 20 MINAS, it's not 30 MINAS, it's cities. And that's the good thing about God, because we can't preempt him. If I were the one, I'll give him 20, 25, 30 MINAS and shake his hand and give him a plaque. But God said, because you have been faithful in that which was very little, I'm going to put you in charge of that which is very great. It's not the size dynamics, it's the principle of faithfulness. The Bible puts it this way: he that is faithful in little will be faithful in much. It's not the size. If you don't know how to give $10, see, you don't know how to give 10,000. If you don't know how to give a cup of rice, you cannot give 10 bags of rice. It's the principle, it's not the volume. It's the principle of your heart, whether it's been locked in greed and self-absorbed nature or whether it's released in generosity. Because Jesus made a principle here. For to him that has, more will always be given. And to him that does not have, even the little that he has will be taken away. Let me put an addendum to this. That is why, as great as aid is, aid never takes you out of poverty. Aid never brings the best of your potential. It just deadens you in a way that you lift up your hands to people helping you all the time. But the people who help you will never tell you that this is where I get the ability to be able to help you all the time. And that's why we must not always want aid and clap for aid. We must rather come into that place where we can also be masters of our own destiny under God's watchful eye in his mercy. So it's a principle. He that has, more will be given. She that has, more will be given. The one that doesn't have and is always criticizing, condemning the little that they have, looking down on it, nothing will come out of it. Why? Because God has an evidence to tell you that, well, I gave the same gift to another woman. I gave the same gift to another family. I gave the same gift to another country. I gave it to another school. So how come? But the joy of it is a surprise on the face of that man. Because I can't equate cities with MINAS. Because sometimes God gives us little things to test us. But what he has in mind for us is a very big thing. And I'm sure when 10 cities come your way, quite a bit of your problems are solved in life. And all the criticisms disappear. And guess what? All the struggles, all the pain, all the suffering would have been worth it. Because God will never allow us to be left this way. So maybe God has put MINAS in your hand. I don't know what they are. I don't know where they are, how many they are. And maybe you want to put it down. Somebody wants to tell you that this thing is not. People are asking for cars and you are giving me a tire. What am I doing with a tire? Well, just know that God is watching. So when he asks you, and in your faithfulness, maybe big things are coming your way. And I would want that for myself. I'm sure you will want that for yourself. I'm sure we want it for our nation. But let's follow the pathway and the principle that God has set for us. I'm going to stop here because my time is up until I come your way next week by the grace of God. God bless us. Keep us well. Use your MINAS. I will use my MINAS. And maybe when we see each other again, we'll be boasting of 10 cities, 5 cities, but certainly boasting of bigger things than where we started. God bless you and good night.